Building a side hustle can be really exciting in the beginning, especially if you find that side hustle is actually going to help you make some additional income or really just gives you complete fulfillment. But I know from past experience, actually starting a side hustle is not as straightforward. And there's a couple of mistakes I've made. And I'd like to share in this particular video some mistakes you can avoid as well if you are looking to build a side hustle. So let's just start with the first particular mistake. Now, this is basically identifying the right type of side hustle that you want to work on. The reason I mention this is because there's different things that might interest you as a person. Say, for instance, you're someone that really likes woodworking as a particular vocation, and you perhaps have expertise in that particular area, but then you want to actually build something out where it actually teaches people how to do the right type of woodworking. Now, in practice, it sounds like a really great idea, but if it's something you can't really monetize or you can't really sell a particular product or service, it becomes really difficult. And what lands up happening is you're trying to work on a particular hustle where you think you're going to get some benefit from it, but really it doesn't really work out that way. So you've got to find something that really appeals to you as a personality in terms of your sort of workload, what you can do if you're someone who's a very busy individual. Let's say you've got a job, you need to find something that basically allows you to just maybe use a couple of hours a day. And speaking of which, if you are that kind of person, you can drop a comment below just to get an idea of a blueprint or a business concept that can help you, or you can check out the link that I provided in the pinned comment as well. Now, coming back to the mistakes, as I mentioned, having the right type of side hustle that you've identified that you resonate with is going to be critical. So this was something that I'm mentioning because I found that I was focusing on a lot of different types of side hustles at one particular point in time, rather than trying to keep my focus on one particular one. And that's where I realized that because of that sort of attention not being put on a particular side hustle, I was really struggling. The second mistake essentially is thinking that you're going to have overnight success and not really looking at a longer term sort of vision. Now, I think it's quite common that when you start building any kind of business, even if it's a side hustle, you kind of expect certain results. And sometimes, because of the potential excitement, you think you're going to get certain results within a short frame of time, maybe 3 to 6 months. Unfortunately, because of the amount of, I would say, kind of garbage that's out there, people that are really promising or over promising, a lot of people get into this sort of motion that they think they're going to sort of become rich overnight, and it's not the case. I think what you need to understand is, and it's something I had to learn a hard way, is it does take a lot of effort, it does take some time, but what's important is to look at your long-term goals. What do you want to get out of building a side hustle? Is it something where, say, for example, you're a full-time working professional, you want to get out of your 9 to 5 completely? Then you've got to start thinking longer term sort of terms where it's 3 to 5 years that you want to build out something where you feel you're financially free. And this is the approach that I've been taking to my particular side hustle now that I know what were some of the mistakes I was making when I was overly ambitious. The other reason I mention this is because it gets to a point where it can be very demotivating. Whereas if you know that you're going to spend quite a bit of time building out your side hustle to the point maybe also where it becomes a full-time business, then obviously it's going to be a lot easier for you to be motivated and obviously to keep persisting with that. That brings me to the third mistake, which was not being consistent. Now, when I say not being consistent, it really depends on the type of hustle. Let's just say I'm someone that is providing mastery in terms of digital marketing or teaching concepts around attraction marketing. One of the ways, obviously, for me to do that is to produce content on a regular basis where I'm giving concepts, I'm giving tips, I'm giving suggestions to people in terms of how they can improve their skills on that. Now, if I'm someone that is, say, for example, posting content through videos, and let's say like I'm building a YouTube channel where I'm posting videos, if I'm only posting videos maybe once a month or once every 2 months, it's really not going to help my side hustle, even though it is a side hustle. So it's very important that you create a kind of schedule where you know you're going to follow your processes consistently. To give my example, if you're creating video content, then obviously create a schedule where you know you'll be posting regularly. So if you're someone that can only do maybe 2 videos a week, then stick to that until a point where you feel confident that you can do 2 or more videos a week. And the same goes with, let's say, a coach or a consultant who knows that they have to sort of engage with particular people or prospects that are interested in their services. Now, make a schedule where you know for a fact that you have regular meetings, because if you don't have those regular meetings or consultations, it's obviously going to be difficult for you to build out your side hustle and obviously start generating revenue. And finally, the last mistake that I found was that when it came to finding the type of side hustle that I wanted to work on, was not preparing for the resources that I needed. This particularly becomes important when it comes to financial resources. So let's just say, for example, you have to look at a marketing or a budgeting expense in terms of marketing. And if you find that you don't have a specific budget, it affects every other mistake that I mentioned in terms of not being consistent, because now you don't have money to advertise consistently. But also, perhaps the business you've chosen is not the correct business, because it means that the amount of investment you have to make from a marketing perspective is quite significant. So, to give you an example, I was trying to promote products and services using Google Ads. Now, because I wasn't an expert on Google Ads, I went to find a particular expert that could help me with that. But what I realized was that in order for me to really get ROI or return from the ad spend on Google, I really needed to have a significant amount of budget, which meant that it was not a great business idea or side hustle for me to follow. And I had to sort of re strategize when it came to building out the type of side hustle that resonates with me as a person. So, unless you're someone that is really resourceful, where you've got access to funds, and you know for a fact that you can put a certain amount for marketing purposes, then I would suggest going ahead with that. And if you're comfortable, perhaps even burning some of that money, then you can go ahead with that, because if you're confident that you're going to get certain returns from it, I don't think it'll really have a massive impact on you. But if you're someone that is getting to the point where you don't have the kinds of resources and you essentially need to find ways to do it without spending a lot of money, or doing free marketing, like I mentioned, doing influencer-based marketing or social media marketing, perhaps that's a better strategy to follow, because that means that you can build out your business or your side hustle and ensure that you are sort of getting the return from it. So these were some of the main mistakes I've made when it comes to building out a side hustle. I continuously improve on it, because sometimes I do land up making the same mistake, but in a way where I'm sort of picking up and re strategizing each time, where I'm getting better with my side hustle. And I hope this kind of content has really helped you when it comes to understanding what are some of the mistakes you can make when it comes to building out a side hustle. And by the way, if you're interested in the types of side hustles you can look out to build, check out this video here where I actually show you a particular way of building certain types of side hustles. And hopefully that will give you a better idea when it comes to building the right type of side hustle.